cut off from the world, hidden behind 9-meter-high walls. This prison is not just a building, it's a demonstration of power. An 8-block monster of concrete and steel, built not only to confine, but to intimidate. Here, there is no hope, only the sound of heavy doors and a silence that no signal can break. You can enter, but leaving is unlikely. This is the СЕCOT, the Terrorism Confinement Center in El Salvador, the largest prison not only in Latin America, but in the world.
So we decided to clean up the prosecutor's office, the judicial system, the penitentiary system. And we changed the laws so that terrorists wouldn't get out of prison. That's when the international condemnation began.
The construction and outfitting of El Salvador's mega prison cost $115 million. It was built on 23 hectares with an additional 140 hectares of surrounding land under the close watch of armed security forces. More than 600 soldiers guard the area as if it were a military base. There are 19 control towers, each with a full view of its sector. And above it all, a 3-meter-high electric fence with a voltage of 15,000 volts. There are no options here, no possibility of escape, only lifelong confinement. This is not just a prison. It is a system of institutional control, where even the thought of freedom is considered a violation of the regime.
This is a detention center for terrorists. A mega prison built during the state of emergency declared by President Bukel. It was constructed under closed contracts, without proper transparency. No one knows what is really happening there, but it was built very quickly. It is one of the largest prisons on the continent and has become a showcase for Bukele's security policy. It is actively used to produce videos, photos, and other propaganda content.
It was built in less than a year. In 2023, under the cover of night, the first prisoners were brought here. The first inmates were members of Salvadoran gangs, MS-13, 18th Street Revolutionaries, and Sureños, who had kept the country in fear for many years, and against whom President Nayib Bukele declared war in 2022.
We are holding active gang members. All of them are current participants. At the moment, we have 12,000 inmates, but this number will increase depending on the authorities' decisions. Directors of the authorities, the total capacity is 40,000 people.
For security reasons, it is not permitted to disclose the current number of prisoners. For the same security reasons, most of the staff hide their faces. The prisoners themselves are kept in cells with up to 150 people each, with only 2 toilets and something resembling a basin with a plastic dipper. Iron 4-tier bunk beds without mattresses or pillows. The lights are never turned off here. They are practically on top of each other, with no right to walks, visits from relatives, or any contact with the outside world. According to one study, each prisoner has an average of 60 square centimeters of space.
It's important to understand that this is the most opaque prison in the region. All the information we have about СЕКОT comes exclusively from the government. The officials themselves engage in actions that resemble torture. The lights are kept on around the clock. The overcrowding there does not meet international standards. Prisoners have no access to family members or lawyers. They are let out for only half an hour a day. They don't even have books. This is a prison, built for punishment, intentionally designed to be harsh. It is a place for indefinite detention. It resembles a penal colony. This is a penal center.
The only entertainment is doing physical exercises with an instructor.
Every morning and evening, we conduct routine inspections to make sure the cells are in order.
What exactly do these inspections include?
Checking the cells, inspecting the locks, bars, and ventilation.
We check everything thoroughly to ensure control is maintained in the cells.
The only thing worse than a general cell is probably solitary confinement. A concrete room with a toilet and a sink, and a small opening in the ceiling for light. In such a place, you can be kept for a couple of weeks for any infraction. Meals are handed out in plastic containers without any cutlery. The menu never changes and contains no protein, rice, pasta, and 2 pieces of tortilla. Occasionally, you might get a fruit drink. In the stifling cells where the temperature can reach 35 degrees Celsius, the only salvation is the large blue barrels of water. CESID is a sentence. A sentence without hope, without return, without mercy. Human rights activists are sounding the alarm. Torture, deaths, mass trials. But here no one listens. Last year, Bukele declared gang members will spend their entire lives in prison. And his minister put it even more bluntly. No one who ends up in CSD will leave there on their own 2 feet.
In 3 years of the state of emergency, we have documented mass arbitrary arrests, illegal detentions, and systematic torture in penitentiary institutions. The conditions of detention are deliberately cruel and inhuman, with a lack of access to food, water, hygiene, and medicine, combined with physical torture, which, according to our data, has affected at least 367 people, but likely many more.
Yet despite condemnation from human rights activists, CSID has become very popular among governments. CSCD is a potential model for fighting crime in Costa Rica, the country's Minister of Justice stated.
We are studying effective practices that are backed by results. Today, El Salvador is one of the safest countries in the world, and Costa Rica aspires to regain its reputation as a peaceful and secure nation. I believe that this alliance, this friendship between Costa Rica and El Salvador, is a very wise decision. We want to gain a deeper understanding of their practices, to learn how they went through this process, and to adopt what is suitable for our country.
We are happy to share this experience with a country that until recently was an example of peace for us Salvadorans. But now, because of globalist and so-called human rights organizations, it has also turned into a country where daily headlines are about murders.
Ecuadorian ministers are also studying El Salvador's security model.
We are very impressed. CSID made a great impression on me. The vision of El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele regarding security demonstrates deep analysis and pragmatism in decision-making.
Today, democratic countries are fighting against transnational crimes, such as drug trafficking and terrorism. It is extremely important to unite in this fight and to see the model of El Salvador's prison system. This is an example for many countries, including Ecuador. This is necessary so that we can jointly protect our countries from these crimes.
El Salvador's mega prison, CSID, captivates supporters of tough security policies and at the same time shocks human rights activists. Even Donald Trump liked the idea. In March, the first plane carrying deported migrants arrived in El Salvador. 261 people. Most of them were Venezuelans, whom the US declared foreign enemies and members of the Tren de Aragua gang without trial. The government admitted that many of them have no criminal record, but are considered a threat. They were sent to CSID for a year, with the possibility of extension. The US paid El Salvador $6 million. And this is just the beginning.
I am here today at CSID, now. And first of all, I want to thank El Salvador and their president for partnering with the United States of America, for taking in our terrorists, imprisoning them, and ensuring accountability for the violence they have committed in our communities. I also want everyone to know, if you come to our country illegally, one of the possible consequences for you could be this very prison. Be aware that this facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use if you commit crimes against the American people.
And now this is Texas. The Blue Bonnet Immigration Center, 34 Venezuelans formed the letters SOS in the yard. It's their cry to the whole world. In the United States, they were accused of belonging to the Tren de Aragua gang without trial, without evidence, based on a law from as far back as 1798. Some of them don't have any criminal record at all. On April 18th, they were already being transported for deportation directly to the notorious Salvadoran prison CSID. But the Supreme Court intervened and temporarily halted the extradition. However, the fear did not go away. The prisoners take turns keeping watch at night because they're afraid they might be taken away suddenly. They say they are not given enough food, and journalists are not allowed into the prison. US security services do not comment. And if the court lifts the ban, these men will be the next to be deported to the hell on earth that is CSID prison. Subscribe so you don't miss the latest video.